The diplomatic chamber fell silent as Ambassador Thexrel collapsed, his chitinous body convulsing on the polished floor. The Vixene serpent, no longer than a human forearm but deadlier than a plasma rifle, slithered away from the ambassador's fallen form, its iridescent scales catching the overhead lights. Dr. Sarah Chen moved before anyone else could react. She dropped to her knees beside the ambassador, her hands already assessing his vital signs with practiced efficiency. The other delegates backed away in horror, their various appendages trembling with fear. "Security breach." Commander Velthos's voice cracked through the room's translator system. "Seal all exits. That creature is a Vixene death striker. Its venom can kill any known species within minutes." The serpent, disturbed by the commotion, coiled and struck again. This time its fangs sank deep into Sarah's exposed forearm. The room erupted into chaos. Several delegates began emergency evacuation protocols. Others activated personal shield generators. Captain Morrison from the human delegation lunged forward, but Sarah raised her free hand, stopping him. "Stand down, Captain," she said, her voice steady as she watched the serpent retract its fangs and slither under a nearby console. "I need you to retrieve my medical kit from the transport now." Morrison stared at her, frozen. "Doctor, I know what I've been bitten by, Captain." "My kit, move." He ran. Sarah turned back to Ambassador Thexrel. His breathing had become shallow, his primary respiratory spiracles fluttering weakly. She pulled a small device from her pocket, a basic bioscanner she always carried, and ran it over his body. "Someone help me turn him on his side," she called out. When no one moved, she did it herself, grunting with effort as she maneuvered the ambassador's considerable bulk. Green ichor pooled beneath him. By the time Morrison returned with her kit, Sarah had stabilized the ambassador's position and was monitoring his declining vital signs. Her bitten arm showed an angry red welt spreading from the puncture wounds, but she ignored it. "Counteragent, top left compartment," she instructed Morrison, her fingers never leaving the ambassador's pulse point. "The blue vial." "Doctor, you need treatment. The ambassador has maybe 3 minutes." "I have longer." "The vial, Captain." Her hands didn't shake as she administered the broad-spectrum antivenin. The Galactic Council's medical protocols were comprehensive, designed to work across hundreds of species biochemistries. She'd helped develop them. Commander Velthos approached cautiously, his weapon drawn and aimed at the console where the serpent had disappeared. "Dr. Chen, you must seek treatment immediately. The Vixene venom is neurotoxic, hemotoxic, and cytotoxic," Sarah finished, checking the ambassador's pupils with a penlight. "I'm aware. Ambassador Thexrel's species has a decentralized nervous system, which makes him particularly vulnerable. He's stabilizing now." She finally looked at her arm. The wound had swollen considerably, the skin around it mottled purple and black. She felt the familiar burn of venom in her bloodstream, the slight tremor beginning in her extremities. With deliberate calm, she rolled up her sleeve further and retrieved another vial from her kit. "Human-specific broad-spectrum antivenin," she explained to the watching delegates as she administered it to herself. "We developed it after the Proxima incident. Turns out being an endurance predator with an overactive immune system has its advantages." "You should be dead," whispered Dr. Kaish, the Zalarian medical officer, her frills pale with shock. "The Vixene venom is universally lethal. I've seen it kill a Corthian enforcer. They have redundant organs and regenerative capabilities." Sarah flexed her fingers, testing her motor control. The antivenin was working, but slowly. She'd feel terrible for days, but she'd live. She always did. "Humans are weird," she said with a slight smile, then turned serious. "Commander, that serpent is still in here. We need to secure it before it strikes again. They're not naturally aggressive. Someone put it here deliberately." The security sweep took 20 minutes. They found the serpent coiled in a ventilation shaft, sluggish from expending its venom. It was carefully contained in a stasis field. Ambassador Thexrel was transported to the medical bay, his condition stable but critical. Sarah refused a stretcher, walking to the medical bay on her own power despite Morrison's protests. Her arm looked like it had been dipped in ink, the discoloration spreading past her elbow. She'd need tissue regeneration therapy, extensive detox treatments, and probably a week of bed rest. "How?" Dr. Kiesh asked as she ran a scanner over Sarah's arm in the medical bay. "Your cellular degradation should be catastrophic. The toxin is breaking down your tissues, attacking your nervous system. destroying your blood cells, yet you're conscious. You walked here. You saved the ambassador first. Sarah leaned back on the examination table, suddenly exhausted. Humans evolved as persistence hunters. We chased prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. We couldn't outrun anything, couldn't outclimb or outswim most predators. So we developed something else. We became incredibly hard to kill. She gestured to her ravaged arm. Our immune systems are aggressive, sometimes too aggressive. We get allergies, autoimmune diseases, all sorts of problems because our bodies are constantly ready for war. But when something actually attacks us, we have options. We have high pain tolerance because we had to keep moving even when injured. We have efficient liver and kidney function because we're persistence hunters who ate whatever we could catch, including things that were starting to rot. We have robust cardiovascular systems because we literally ran our prey to death over days-long hunts. Dr. Keisha's scanner beeped with updated readings. Your body is fighting back. The venom is still there, still deadly, but your immune response is containing it, buying time for the antivenom to work. This is remarkable. This is human, Sarah corrected. We're not the strongest or the fastest. We don't have natural armor or weapons, but we're stubborn, we endure. And we protect our own, even when our own means alien ambassadors we met 6 months ago. Later, when the security investigation revealed that a radical faction had planted the serpent to disrupt the peace talks, and Ambassador Thexral recovered fully thanks to Sarah's quick action, the story spread throughout the Galactic Council. The human who took a lethal bite and barely flinched. The human who saved an alien life before treating her own mortal wound. The human who walked away from certain death because somehow humans always did. Captain Morrison visited her in medical 3 days later, finding her arm still bandaged but her spirits high. They're calling you a hero, he said. Sarah shrugged. I'm a doctor. I did my job. You took a bite meant to kill you and kept working. Yeah, well. She smiled. That's the thing about humans, Captain. We're really bad at knowing when to quit. And in the vast diplomatic networks of the Galactic Council, a new understanding began to spread. Humans weren't the strongest species or the smartest or the longest lived, but they were perhaps the hardest to stop. And that made all the difference.